Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our work session with the Mayor and City Council for Thursday, April the 27th, 2023. We have these meetings each Thursday before our council meetings on Tuesday. It's not always convenient for all the council members to be here, but when they can, they're here, and they can also watch these after they're over. The idea is to give us time to have some discussions before some of the issues come before the council on Tuesday, and to also have feedback from citizens and folks that are here. Councilman Beard is with us online today on Zoom. And before we go any further, I'm going to ask Chief Daughtry to come up and open us in prayer. Chief, you look sharp today.
Good morning, everyone. Let's join me in prayer. Father God, we thank you right now for allowing us to see another day. Thank you for all of our health and all of our strength and the activities of our limbs. We do realize that some people woke up this morning, but they couldn't get up. A lot of people got up this morning, but they couldn't stay up. So we're thankful for the blessings that you gave us. Continue to give us the blessing of clear minds so that we can do what we can do to help the city prosper. Give us a clean heart and a clean spirit. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Chief. We'll go ahead and move into the agenda. Council, do y'all have any things you'd like to say before we move forward on the topics? If not, I'm sorry?
If we have time, we want to add the chief wants to bring up radar.
Okay, sure. Yep, that'd be fine. Let's start with the first topic on the agenda is to talk about the bypass cutting and landscaping. Both of these issues we have been talking about for quite some time. Have gotten bids on doing both projects. At the last council meeting on Tuesday, a week ago, the council had some questions about possible other avenues to save money on the outsourcing that we're doing with this. And so since then, I have met with our CFO, COO, our city engineer, and Public Works, and we've gathered some information that we want to bring to the council today. Jim, would you like to start on those discussions?
Oh, okay. Yeah, we met this last week, and I think one of the questions we wanted to answer was whether or not it would be more economical for the Public Works Department to do this work for us rather than outsourcing it. Based on the feedback we got from the director, from Casey, it would appear that it would take 4 employees. Now, four employees, when we look at it between $12.50 and $13 an hour, plus benefits, that number would far exceed the $75,000 proposed low bidder from the outside. So at this point in time, it's certainly my recommendation that we go with the outside contractor. When I look at the impact on this year's budget, since this was not a budgeted item, we gave that some thought, and we would pay that $75,000 by monthly payments, $6,250 a month, and so the amount that would impact this fiscal year would be about a little over $31,000 that would fall in this fiscal year, and then we would budget it for this process going forward in the future. That $31,000 I have covered in some special project money that I have in our budget. So my recommendation is that we would go ahead with the outside contract and move forward, since it's almost time to start cutting.
And I would also add that when they begin to cut with the bypass, I can move them to a ward system.
Yeah, that's a big plus. We could put Public Works into the ward so that there are people going into the wards on a regular basis every day of the week. I think that will help with meeting a lot of the needs that the council members are hearing from folks within their wards, and I also hear that as well. I will say too that I do believe that there's still an opportunity for the for the Board of Supervisors to assist in this. There have been some more discussions with members of the supervisors. They haven't taken it up as a group yet. There is some discussion between them, and I think that there's still a good possibility they will help us with this funding because of the location.
Where do we stand on the bid? Is it still, it was good for 90 days, or how?
I think it was good for 90 days, and we
Yes.
just received it about a month ago.
Okay.
So
We have
still
about
got-
60.
I think he said we had about 60 days left.
Okay.
All right, and then on the landscaping, which we talked about, would be the main area of 45. We also discussed that and looked at the numbers from if we purchased the trees and shrubs ourselves at a discounted rate, what that would take to pay people to go down and get them, having a vehicle to bring them back in. We looked at if we have Public Works, if we purchase the plants ourselves and we have Public Works plant them, we lose the warranty. There's no guarantee on them once they go in, because there's no guarantee that they're going to be planted properly and watered in the beginning the way that they need to be, and that's why you would outsource a situation like this. One of the things here that I want to stress is that the way we're doing this by getting bids from, or getting the recommendations using our city engineer and MDOT, is that these are plants that are more hardy, that should, if handled properly, should last much longer than the plantings that we've been doing, and would be easier to maintain over time. In talking to Casey and others this week, over the last several years, the city has added something like 78 beds for plantings around the city. From what we can tell, the most that has ever been budgeted to maintain these beds were about $30,000. Last year, we cut that budget down to 15 because of when we had the shortfall in the budget. Now, Jim is pulling together a chart of the costs that the city has put into landscaping over the years, because I think there's been several years that it was outside of that budget. We spent more on maintaining the beds and the beautification of the city, which is a very important thing, obviously. But what we're trying to do is come in with, again, plants and stuff that will save us money over time. So Jim, do you have all that ready, or did you want to share that with us on Tuesday?
Well, I'll give you an entire picture of it on Tuesday, but just so you know that in the highest we've ever paid, at least since 2015, is in 2017, there was a budget of $30,000, but the city spent a little over $48,000 on flowers that year. But, so they exceeded their budget, but that was a $30,000 budget. That was, and the mayor's correct, that budget was reduced when there was that budget shortfall down to 15, and when we did the budget again this year, we left it at 15, not anticipating that we would be doing all of these. But at the same time, we're really gonna have to take a hard look at that, because most of the flowers that are in these 78 beds around town are annuals that have to be replaced each year. So we have to make sure as we go forward that we have the right amount budgeted in there. So they've already spent, of that 15 so far, Public Works has already spent almost 7,000 of that so far this year. So, and that's just on the flower beds. That doesn't have anything to do with the median strips that we're talking about right now.
So I think that what we had, even in some of these other beds that we have, there's probably a good reason for us to look at, instead of having so many annuals in those, putting in perennials that'll be pleasing to the eye, but also more cost effective as we go forward, and then figure out, what a true budget is to maintain these over time, and the commitment that we want to put into it from Public Works or either outsourcing. Any questions about that? Okay.
So does that address what we're fixing to do on 45, or are we still in that dilemma of where do we find the money?
Well, I mean, as far as on Tuesday, we can talk in more detail about actually any cost savings that it would be for us to go pick them up and plant them ourselves versus not doing it and outsourcing it. Jim has identified money that we could use on those this time. But then as we go into the budget year, we need to be looking at all the beautification areas within the city and how cost and things to do to maintain that. And to me, it needs to be almost a long-term strategic plan. If we're going to add any other locations, or if we're going to maintain all of these, we need to budget for it so that we know that we stay inside our budget and that we can always maintain them at the level that they have been in the past. Because I know people enjoy the city looking beautiful through flowers. Paving update.
So we are.
Thank you, Zach. How are you?
I'm good, how are y'all?
Good.
We're, still riding streets, assessing conditions, making priority lists, and, I think he's riding the last ward today and tomorrow, should have it wrapped up. We should start, getting all the council members a list of their wards next week. So, at this point, we just need to start narrowing down a budget and determining how the money's gonna be split between the wards so that we can prioritize accordingly.
Do you know how many actual forms we had from citizens that were?
I do not off the top of my head. I didn't look. We had several. We've added some of those streets to the list. Some of the streets were in the county, quite frankly. So
Yeah.
But we did add some of those streets to the list so the council members can go around and assess those themselves. So.
Yeah.
And some of them needed to be on the list.
Yeah. Kevin and I were at the CAG meeting on Tuesday night, and someone brought us like 15 there. They had not gotten them in. They just remembered about it. So I was telling citizens, if you still got ideas, there's still time to just send it in to us and look at the street. A lot of the ones, as my understanding, that people have mentioned to you were ones that were already on our list.
That's
correct?
correct. That's correct. Yeah,
Yeah.
a lot of the ones that they mentioned were already on our list. So
Very good.
a lot of the ones that they listed were on the deferred list that didn't quite make the cut last time we paid. So.
What's the time frame on this? Do you obviously put it out for bid, and then that takes
That's
X amount
right.
of
So
time, and then they come in, so this will be done before kind of give us an idea of when this could happen.
Ideally, if we had a budget set, it will take us a couple months to get the plans and specs together and put it out for bid. You know, have to go through a formal bid process, which will take 30 days. We would be looking at starting construction early fall. So, and what this would do is, for these paving contractors, a lot of times they don't have a lot of highway work over the winter because a lot of that's let during the summer. So that would allow them to use this as winter work. And when you have those days of favorable weather to be able to pave, they could do that. So it would hold a contractor over during the winter. A lot of times these contractors are looking for projects like this to hold their guys and keep them busy through winter. Because a lot of times, quite frankly, they lay them off during the winter.
When we're distributing the funds, my ward has a lot of commercial and a lot of tax revenue that comes in that would help do those streets, but are they just divided 6 ways, or how do you determine what's priority as far as traffic flow and things like that?
So ultimately, it will be up to the council to decide how the money is split. It's been, over the years, it's been split multiple ways. Last time we did it, we somewhat split it evenly, but we focused more on what is priority versus splitting it equally. I think 6 or 7 years ago, the money was split equally, and all wards are not created equally, especially when it comes to roads. So, in my opinion, it needs to be prioritized based on, like you say, not only condition, but how much traffic is on these roads.
So you have a list. What was the cutoff? 5,000 a day or something? That was a high priority, high travel road?
Yes, yeah, about 5,000 cars per day, and there's really not that many city streets that hit that threshold. You've got Gardner, Lindbergh, streets like that hit that number, but that's right.
Okay, so we'll have a list of.
Yes, and if you would like us to, we can put a star out by, over 5,000 vehicles per day, we can put that out to the side. That way you can see which ones have that.
I think that'd be very helpful for everybody.
We can do that.
Yeah.
We've also, I want to just in the past, I think there have been times when we may have done a parking lot during these, when we're doing this work. And I was reminding a group I spoke to the other day that, you know, our potholes and roads are always a major issue in all cities. And I thought it was interesting when Kevin gave us that number that over the last 20 years, the city has put basically about $1 million a year into roads. And I think that shocks people when they hear that. But we also have parking lots within the city that get in really bad shape, and alleyways. And I know the one that's over here behind Jay Broussard's in that area has not been paved for quite some time. How do we add that in for the council to consider too, and what that would, okay.
That's right, just like we did City Hall
Yeah.
parking lot last time, we'll add it in, for your consideration, you know. And if you choose to pave it, we'll get it paid for you.
Yep. All right, oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just, in my ward, Highway 50, from corner of Gardner down to Love's. Is that in a state?
I
Or
think
is that
that's,
us?
I will double check for you, but I'm pretty sure that's MDOT.
Okay. And is there a process for us to request, or is that just on their list,
You can-
and it comes on their list? 'Cause
Yeah,
it's
you know,
pretty
they're in a rotation, and it's my understanding they're taking a look at 82 in the very near future, but I can reach out and see when that's gonna come up in the rotation for you.
Yeah.
Mr. Foster, in last couple of years, we've been at a standstill because of the cost of asphalt. So has there been a change in price, or is it still?
Asphalt has gone up significantly since we paved last time, but it has finally leveled out. Now, it's still much higher than it was, you know, 3 or 4 years ago. I'd say it's about a time and a half as expensive as it was when we paved in 2020. But it has finally leveled out, so it's not steadily rising like it was 2 years ago.
And how much does that fluctuate? I mean, would that fluctuate in the next 2 months, or?
If oil prices do and fuel prices do, then yeah, it's gonna go up.
Yeah, I get that, but I mean, obviously when they bid, they're locked into,
That's
you know,
right.
what they're doing, but it could change between now and when we get the bids out, right?
It could.
Yep. Any other questions for Zach on that topic? Zach, are you gonna update us on the Chick-fil-A road too? Is that what?
I will.
Okay, good.
So we received, for the Chick-fil-A road, Fifth Street, we received 3 quotes. We got, quotes from Mercury Paving, GNC Contracting, and Falcon. Mercury Paving was the low quote, $48,000. The City of Columbus portion is $20,250, and Magnolia Place LLC's portion of that is $27,750. And that's a lump sum quote. It includes milling, asphalt, and striping. So the total quote's $48,000.
Okay, help me with that, because our portion of that road does not look that bad. Theirs is hellacious.
That's-
So
well-
why did ours come in so close? Is it the distance that we own, or?
The distance is about equal. So y'all own, square yardage wise, you own about the same amount of real estate. But his portion is worse, which is why he's about $7,500 more expensive.
I thought
So
it would
he's
have
gonna
been a
have
lot
quite a
more
bit
than
of-
that. I mean, those are
quite a bit
like
of level.
moon craters over there. That's surprising to me.
Have we addressed what long-term of him giving us the easement to that road, or is that?
So we spoke with him earlier in the week, and he seemed agreeable to those terms. He would pay for this cost, and then he seemed, at least when we spoke to him on the phone, agreeable to turn it over to the city.
Yeah,
Once
that's
the work
something
is
that
complete.
Jeff would have to be working with on.
That's
during
correct.
the process, to make sure that if that's what the city, and the council would have to vote to accept it.
That's right.
So he'll be working on getting that.
Well, in my mind, if we're fixing to take over this guy's road and maintenance, maybe he ought to pay for it this time, and we'll take it from here forward, maybe in that discussion.
Well, and I think that's what he was saying. He'll go ahead and cover his portion. Is that what you're saying?
I'm saying if he would cover the whole 48 this time, and then give it to us, and we'll take it from now forever,
But
you know.
don't the city own the first portion?
Yeah, we own the first portion of it,
And
yeah.
he's not going to.
Well, he's not gonna do that.
Yeah, I don't think
I mean, we're lucky to get him to do this part. It's been
That's true.
such a mess for so long. But that is a very dangerous strip of road right there, so we've got to move on it. And again, I hope everybody heard loud and clear that we only own a portion of that, and we own the better side of it. And Chick-fil-A is not the owner of the other, it's the people who own the Old Navy, that whole shopping center, and they're out of California. Just want to be clear on that.
Is this something we do now, or we wait and roll it into the paving contract?
I think you go ahead and get it done.
Yeah,
I don't think the price is gonna change a whole lot, and we've just spoken with Mr. Cooper, and he says he's ready to move on it. So I think you move
now.
now.
Okay.
So we'll
He
take that.
changes minds.
That's right. If he does, the next time you go home to California, I'm gonna send you by to see him, Ms. Stewart. Okay, so that'll be on the agenda for Tuesday to discuss. All right, now, anything else, any other questions for Zach? We appreciate it. Thank you, Zach. Now, Mr. Jim is gonna give us an update on, the trash collection.
We received 4 proposals for the trash collection. Our current vendor's contract runs out in September. Golden Triangle, who is the current incumbent, Waste Pro, Aero Disposal, and Waste Management all did proposals. And we met with them. All of them agreed to provide bins to all of the homes. So that's about somewhere between 9,500 and 10,000 bins that they'll be acquiring and putting out and giving to the citizens. The bin sizes are all approximately the same. They're the big roller ones, about 95, 96 gallon ones. And you can see the rates. All of the rates are significantly higher than what we're paying today. And I have checked with some other areas, and the rates are competitive with what other municipalities are paying now. But I am concerned about the increase, since our current rate right now is $10.50, and we're looking at somewhere between $18.50 and $24 and change as the new rate. So we're going to have to be talking about how do we handle that? How do we make sure that the service level can justify this kind of rate adjustment? When I looked at the companies, at least 3 of them indicated they had backdoor service. Backdoor service is where we might have a family or a citizen that can't or is unable to roll that bin out to the street, and we just need to make arrangements for those particular situations. And they would like to have some sort of medical justification for it, these vendors, but they will do that. They'll go out and actually bring the bin down from the house or from the garage or wherever it's stored. And that's, I think, important for, if we have citizens out there that are handicapped or elderly that may not be able to move a 96-gallon bin full of trash. It's all for 2 times a week right now, same as we are providing now. It's interesting that 2 of the vendors have what they refer to as service verification, and that's Waste Pro and Waste Management, and both of them have camera systems, and they record all of the trash pickup process. So if there's ever any question about did a bin get picked up, or was there an accident, or was there damage of some sort in this whole process, they both have camera, and the Waste Management has an onboard computer system which can update their headquarters instantly if there's some sort of an issue with a particular household. So that they can take care of a customer on the spot and not have to worry about missing a customer and then having to come back. So I think that's an interesting concept of being able to provide customer service for our citizens. At least 3 of them have committed to 6 new vehicles, 6 new trucks to provide. Right now, we're serviced by 5 trucks by Golden Triangle. The 3 of them have indicated that they feel like 6 trucks is a better allocation, and Waste Management is the one with probably the most progressive equipment. They have the side loader, single driver type of equipment. They also have rear loading stuff for smaller alleyways and smaller driveways and streets, but all of the equipment would be new. The three larger have indicated they have backup equipment, so if they have breakdowns, they have additional equipment to replace the trucks. The two larger from a revenue perspective, and from a revenue perspective, I'm saying from a fiscally viable vendor out there is Waste Pro. Their annual revenues are $1 billion, and Waste Management almost $20 billion. I did look and see where if they had Mississippi clients. Waste Management does, but they didn't really list as how many they have. I think that when we're looking at this kind of a rate increase, one of the things we may, and at least one of these providers did suggest that if we were concerned about the rate that they would certainly reduce that rate if we went to a 1 pickup a week versus the 2 pickup a week. So that's an alternative. The state of Mississippi allows us to go back and once we pick a vendor, negotiate the contract and actually, most of the time when you do a proposal, you can't really change the terms that much, but and trash collection is carved out as a special world with the state of Mississippi, so they allow municipalities to negotiate once they pick a vendor. At this point in time, I'm not really prepared to make a recommendation. I think that I'd like the council to look at it, and certainly the proposals are available if anyone wants to read a particular one. But I do feel like that at least 2 of these are excellent choices. But I am very concerned about the rate increase because currently, that will be a rate increase almost doubling the cost to the city for the service that we provide.
These were spec'd out to have the truck go, and all of these are that single thing? Is that the reason for the bins or what?
No, well, we wanted the bins to standardize it no matter what. Now, we were kind of hoping that they would come up with the side load equipment because I think that that's a more efficient way. Only one of them was going to commit. Now, Waste Pro does have that kind of equipment, but the equipment that they're recommending is a blend of both the side and the rear loading. Waste Management's the one that's really committed to the side loaders, the single driver side loaders, all automatic process. But we wanted to do the bins to make sure that whatever equipment they bring, it was standardized. And hopefully it will help clean up some of the trash that's piled in the streets rather than, because on all of these proposals, they'll pick up what's in the bin, but they're not going to get out of the truck and pick up bags or pick up limbs or sticks or anything else like that. So that's something that we're going to have to talk about because currently you're able to put out with Golden Triangle, you're able to put out in the fall, I think 6 bags of leaves at a time. But, unless you can get them in the bin, if you can get them in the bin, that won't be a problem. But
so is the cost of the bin what's driving this price up?
I don't think as much the cost of the bins as it is the cost of the equipment and the fuel and labor is their main.
Yeah.
The bins is a one-time charge, one-time cost to them. But the fuel and the equipment costs are what's driving up the cost.
And I think we made y'all aware that even if the current Golden Triangle waste that we're using, they've already tried to raise our rates, and we pushed back and said that we're still in the contract. So that's going up. Also, we met recently with Dr. Verdell with Columbus Light and Water, and they do the billing for us, and their rates are going to go up 5%.
Yes.
Yeah. Their collection rate.
Because their collection rate is going up. So our costs are going to rise regardless of who we go with. We've tried to look into, Jamie, I don't know if we've had a chance to, we wanted to try to find a comparison to how we compare to other municipalities our size. We have been told that we're on the low end. But I can't factually say that until I see the numbers from other municipalities. But So the rates are gonna go up regardless, I think, and I also think we need to be very careful about when we're talking about, because everybody's very interested, and I am too, about the companies supplying, the bins for citizens. But I also think there's a very different way of how each of those companies handle it. The group that we're currently working with, had told me that when they do them in the county, that the supervisors themselves are responsible to get it to the citizens who need a replacement or whatever. I don't know that y'all want to be delivering those. The other company told me that we talked to at one point that they handle all of that, replacements and everything of bins. So there's a lot of fine details in there that we need to be very careful about to make sure that we're getting all the information as we're deciding on this. The sidearms, I think, are the ones that over time are probably going to supposedly saving more money. That's where the technology's going to. It's fewer people they have to pay.
Cameras.
And cameras, because, you know, we did during the time of, there was a lot of debate during this last time when the trucks were not arriving on a timely basis. There were people calling from neighborhoods saying that they were skipping them and not coming through. We would report it back to them. They would say, yes, we have been in those neighborhoods. These are the, you know, so I think the cameras, there's a lot to consider on this. And I do want to try to see how we compare what these services compare to other communities, because, you know, a lot of this cost will be on the taxpayer, the citizen.
So I have a one-time fee for this bin, is that right?
No, it's in your monthly fee. You're not being
Okay,
charged.
but obviously they're gonna have to pay, that's a
Yes.
lot of money. So I guess what I'm asking, if we went back and said, we want it just like we have it right now, how much is this cost gonna be? Forget about the bins, forget about that, I mean, that's a nice addition, but how much more are we fixing to pay to get everybody a bin that we have to keep up with?
Well, at least one of these companies would drop out, because if you don't have the bin that they can use the sidearm on.
The side on the
Well, I
You
understand,
can't use
but right now, we're not using sidearms.
No,
They're
that's
driving
correct.
down the truck, and you put your trash on the side of the road. Can we not have what would that cost next year if we didn't get bins and we didn't get all this? What would the service we're getting this year cost next year?
I can't be certain, but we still will incur an increase because Golden Triangle Waste Services, they were gonna increase us regardless.
Well, yeah, but going from 10 to 18 is quite an increase. How much would it increase if we didn't do all this extra we're asking for?
Yeah, I think we can get that number, and we should, but I will also point out that we are also dealing and talking about constantly about the trash in our city on the streets. Part of that is from people putting their trash bags on the street without a can, and animals are tearing them up. So, you know, you give and take with these increases. That's why, again, I think it's important that we look at what other municipalities are doing and what they pay. But I hear you.
No, I'm with you, and that would be great, but that's quite an increase.
Yep.
And I will say that let's get the price on the one time a week, cause me personally, in the county, they do it one time a week. And me personally, I don't put my trash on the road half the time, all right, cause I'm not ready. I just don't have a load. So, I'm just saying, I don't have enough garbage to put out there but once a week. So that would be a savings that I think everybody could adjust to.
So you're asking for one time a week, or the current service, which is 2 times a week?
I would like to know if we did what we're doing right now and we cut it back to one time a week, how much is that?
With no cans.
With no cans. How much if we get cans and we cut it back to one time a week? How much if we get cans and we stay at 2 times a week? I'd just like to know every option that we have to know what we can expect, because that's quite an increase.
Do you think they'd be willing to do that for us, Jim, without committing to one?
It's only 4 companies, so we can send it back out asking them what would be the impact. I can tell you that Waste Management does Jacksonville, Alabama, and I just paid mine over there, and it's, for one pickup a week, it was $20.85.
Okay, we're paying what, 17 now? What's the going rate now?
Or 2, yeah.
What's that?
What's our going rate now, 17?
Right now,
Mhm.
$10.50.
No, but
But
that's
we
on
add,
the monthly
yeah, but we
bill.
add 7,
Okay.
so it's 17.
Okay.
Yeah, to the citizen, it's $17.50. And I just, like I said, I just paid $20.85 for, but one time a week. So, and we'll check other municipalities.
And Jamie, didn't you say we're a lot lower than,
Yes, you're a lot lower, than it is in Jackson and, Hazers area.
Well, Jackson didn't even offer it, so it is a whole lot cheaper than Jackson. I don't want to get into a Jackson situation, so let's please nail one of these down.
Jim, if there's replacement bins, who will incur the cost?
The company. The only
I think they get two,
The only
right?
condition, you can get two. The only condition is that is if the homeowner damages the bin, then they have to pay to replace it. I mean, if you drive your car over the top of the bin or something, but, if there's just a fault, if a wheel comes off or something like that, the company takes care of that. They're all those bins are under warranty.
Now, will this be just one bin, or will they have household trash and yard trash, or just one bin, everything goes in the same bin?
Everything goes in the bin.
Do they have stipulations on what you can put in the bin? Sometimes people put concrete blocks in those bins.
Yeah, that's not good. Concrete blocks, you shouldn't do that. You shouldn't put chemicals in there. You should,
Any hazardous material.
any hazardous material should.
Any, street or tree debris, that shouldn't.
Because a lot of the
Well, I mean, if it's small enough, they'll take it.
trucks with the weight limit, they pick it up. If it's not within the weight limit, they'll know something in there that shouldn't be in there, just leave it.
Yeah, at least on the technology that, the side load technology, there was no weight limit. Whatever you can fill in that bin, it can lift. But, the challenge is obviously if, putting in, I'm sure they have regulations on things like paint and other things that you can't normally put in trash now.
Now, the other option that's out there that we didn't look at closely is if we brought it back in house and the city purchased the trucks and all those things, which some cities are still
We
doing.
can't run our own trucks and do it. We're gonna pay for a trash truck.
Why'd you even bring that up?
I'm just reminding you because we had somebody come and speak about it. And if you look at the numbers over time, it might be more economical to the city. You don't know that without seeing it, so.
Well, I'm not
I mean,
saying
I'm
it won't
not-
be more economical, I'm thinking of the other.
Well, you know, Public Works was interested in bringing it back. Just in all transparency, we're making sure we got it all out there that everybody knows. But I agree, I'm more for outsourcing myself too, so.
It seems like our claw trucks are in the garage more than they're out on the street.
That's right. I agree.
Up until this last little, COVID problem that everybody had with equipment, I don't know that as a person living in the city, you could ask more than put your trash on the road, and they came by every Tuesday, Friday, and picked your trash. There was never a problem in my 50 years of living in the city, so
Yeah.
I'm not gonna let this little problem with getting trucks all of a sudden have to change everything. But
No, I think, Golden Triangle seems to be performing, we haven't heard a lot of complaints lately since I think they got one of their new trucks on the road.
Yeah.
So, we haven't had a lot of, at least there hasn't mentioned.
The complaints have slowed down a lot in our office.
And we're not gonna get in depth of this, but Zach, at some point, we discussed the landfill. We need to have a plan to where are we going in the next few years.
So Jim, looking at these rates at Golden Triangle Waste to 1845, now, right now, the rate is 1050, but the citizen paid the 1750. Will he be paying 1845, or will it be 1845 plus?
It'll be 1845 plus.
Be $25.
See, right now, the city has other costs, so, that roll into the overall trash collection bill of $1750 that's on your utility bill. If we don't keep that spread, the city will have to absorb those additional costs in other areas. So Right now, if you were looking at the Waste Pro of $20, with the spread that we have right now, the actual bill on the utility bill would probably need to be somewhere around $25, $26. Because of that differential, that spread that the city is getting right now. To cover the costs of where we pick up trash.
All right, thanks, everybody. I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna make an executive decision, and I'm gonna move the chief up to come and talk about, the radars, because I have another meeting coming up that I may have to step out of. And, I think this is something we need to hear. The waiver for the right of first refusal on property sale is something that's important, and Jamie can give you the update on that. That's a project we'll be dealing with the county that they'll take up on Monday and we'll take up on Tuesday. But Chief, talk to us about the radars.
Okay, good morning, Mayor and Board. I brought this up, Mayor and I have had some conversations over the last couple of months about radars, and we've been inventorying our equipment, and we know we have a shortage of radars. So I wanted to give you some options, and gonna ask the board to help us find some funding to purchase these radars. We're getting a lot of citizen complaints about speeding in the city, and we're limited on radars. So that's
How
what
many do we have, Chief?
now we're up to 5.
Up to 5? Y'all found some at Maxim Medical?
Don't put that in the paper. Don't tell the people. Well, I guess we live. Huh?
They already know, they've heard.
And
about
how many do you think would be sufficient?
I would
Every
like-
car? And
Yeah, I would love, and from here on out, when we purchase vehicles, I would love to equip it so that that's a part of our package to be included with radars, so that every vehicle has a radar. And the reason, I also want to equip the motorcycles with radars, because we can put those radars, the motorcycles, in small areas where you can't see them. And then also, like in our neighborhoods where you have small streets, they can sit at the stop sign or either run the radar from a distance and also be able to get it. Our cars, it'll help us, our officers, while they're patrolling in neighborhoods. If somebody comes zooming by a neighborhood, they got the probable cause, because the speed limit is 25 in certain neighborhoods, they're doing 45 or 50, we got them, we can go ahead and pull them over and have a significant probable cause to pull them over, to start enforcing it. So, I'm sorry, your question was how many?
Yeah.
We have 9 new cars that came in this year. None of them have radar, and we have some other cars that don't have it, so I just guesstimated 15. Well, we have 2. We have MPH, which is one company, and Stalker. Stalker is the one on state contract. Highway Patrol and other agencies around are using Stalker. And we're looking at about right around 24,000 for the cars, and another 6,000, almost 7,000 for the motorcycles.
I'm gonna tell you what I would like to do. If for some reason the council doesn't feel like we can find all that money to get all of them, I would like to at least get those for the motorcycles and get those guys out there on this. I was visiting with the chief of police from West Point when he was here for the blessing of the motorcycles.
Yes.
He and the chief have a good relationship, and he said that they had added them to all the cars in West Point. They have the front and back, and that was in the last 3 or 4 years since he's been the chief over there, maybe longer. But you know, if we can't get them all right now, I hope we can find the money to do it. We at least need to start phasing these in, get the ones for the motorcycles, get the ones that we have now and some of the cars, and get some people focused in these areas where we know a lot of speeding. We're hearing about the drag racing on 45. There's a lot of streets within the city, they're speeding right down Main Street here. We've got to start getting proactive and getting what we have out there and trying to stop some of them until we can get everything we need. I mean, I get calls every day about speeding in almost every neighborhood.
So you said 24,000 to equip all of the cars.
Yes, so that'd be front and rear radar.
Well, can you give us a price on at least these new ones? Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't get a chance to look at it, they just handed it to me.
What you mean the new ones?
Our new cars.
Yeah, that includes the new
No,
cars.
I'm saying
For
if we
just those.
if we just did the new cars,
That'd
the
be-
motorcycles or something like that.
That'd be 9 plus 3 motorcycles.
Okay.
So, I can get you the quote, and then, if you want me to, I can also, I don't know, if Jim's gonna be asked for a lease option.
Yeah, that would be easier to handle.
Yeah, I think we should look at both.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you wanna go with just the new cars?
Well, I'm just trying to say, if we can't get them all, we have to phase this in. It seems like our newest cars.
Yeah, let's just
would
break
be the
'em.
ones to,
Yeah.
Okay,
Great.
now, I'm not gonna put them in the 13s and the 14s, I just wanna make sure like all of our 18s and 21s have them, all the cars that's gonna be around for them, man.
And then are the ones that we have, can we be using those?
Yes, we are using.
Okay, good.
Yeah, right now, we got 2 officers that's averaging about, I wanna say 11 to 15 tickets a night on shift. So they're starting to, get out there, they're averaging about 35 to 40 a month, on the officers that have them, that they're utilizing them. And they're probably gonna get pulled and put into a traffic.
I was threatening the chief, I was gonna get a siren that I could pop on top of the mayor mobile and start running some of these people. They fly by me all the time.
look like Starsky and Hutch out there. And you get beat up.
And
Did you
the-
say Starsky and Hutch?
Starsky and Hutch. If the paper is gonna report that you might wanna say radars are coming and we're starting to use them, you might wanna slow down.
Well, yeah, well, the chief in West Point said that periodically they'll put a warning out in the city and said, we're cracking down this coming week or whatever, and he said it seems to slow people down, but they're still arresting people, so.
Well, even if he does, put in there that we only have 5, it's up to the citizens to figure out which 5 got it.
That's right. Oh, well, they know, because I've been screaming about 2, for a while. 5 is better. We got 3 more than we thought we had. All right, chief, thank you for that very much.
Okay.
All right, Jamie, what's this last, can you tell us about the waiver of right of first refusal on the property sale?
Okay, this 90 Fabricate Drive, this was
Thank
property.
you, Councilwoman DeChico.
This was property that the city and the county owned. It was sold to, I think this is Rider Works in 2007. And a part of that agreement, the city and the county retained a right of first refusal. Rider Works ended up defaulting on that loan, and the property was foreclosed on. So the lender has a new buyer now, and that buyer is a construction company that'll be working with the new aluminum plant out in the county. There's a concern though. Did the foreclosure actually extinguish the right of first refusal or not? So that's more of a legal question. But Attorney Turnage, he is okay with doing a waiver of the right of refusal as long as within the agreement we include restricted covenants that basically say anything dealing with the flyover, certain heights of buildings, and anything that would be detrimental to the airport, that we retain that none of that can happen. So it's a really simple deal. It'll add to our tax base having someone in that empty building, but it's just a matter of making sure that they understand that it can't interfere with anything dealing with the airport.
And the city and county both will have to agree to this,
Yes.
and the county's taking it up on Monday, and we'll take it up on Tuesday. So between now and then, if y'all want to talk to Jeff about it a little bit more and get some more information, there'll be time to do that.
So, Ms. Garrett, with the company that put in foreclosure on it, isn't there waiver rights that they get the first to bid whether or not they want to buy the place? So if they foreclose, would they
And-
want
and-
first option, and have they been given that option that this company is going to buy? Do you want to?
And that's the thing, that would be a legal process to determine if the actual foreclosure extinguished our right of first refusal, and if you even want to purchase that property. But that's, like I said, that's a legal question. Now, if it's something that the city and county want to purchase, then it's something to go through, but if not, then we can just go ahead and sign the waiver.
All right.
Any other questions? Thanks, everybody. We stand adjourned.